Gameranx presents 10 of the weirdest games of 2015. We got a pretty varied list here with some games that are weird and good and some games that are weird and pretty terrible. So let's get started off with number 10. D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die, released this year on Steam, and it's from Swery, the creator of Deadly Premonition, which is a pretty big cult hit. D4 is a weird sort of hybrid noir detective story, riddled with crazy over-the-top Japanese tropes that make it really unique and just so strange. One second you're jumping into dreams to figure out crimes, the next you're hanging out with your partner who eats a lot of pizza, and then there are other moments when you're fighting a crazy cat lady or doing other ridiculous, over-the-top, grotesque, silly, stupid shit. I've seen it described as like an over-the-top Japanese-style Heavy Rain, and I think that's a pretty apt description. It's an episodic game, and you can play through Season 1 right now. And at number 9, we have The Beginner's Guide, a narrative-based indie PC game created by Davey Warden, the guy who made the Stanley Parable. It is vastly different from the Stanley Parable in the fact that it is really kind of not totally a game. There's no mechanics or goals or objectives or anything really video gamey to do. And I don't really want to spoil anything, and I also don't want to get too artsy-fartsy on you and say it's an experience, but that's kind of what it is. You kind of need to just experience it for yourself. You might hate it. It's very abstract, and it's actually very sad. It might leave you feeling unfulfilled, it might make you feel really uncomfortable, but that's kind of what makes it pretty unique and at least worth experiencing because it's probably unlike a lot of other things you've played this year. And at number 8, we have Sonic Dreams Collection. Yes, a new Sonic game, but not quite. Sonic Dreams Collection is a compilation of fan-made mini-games that are all pretty messed up in all their own special ways. It was released by Arcane Kids, a little developer that really has a hell of a sense of humor, and it shows because it has 4 game modes and they're all equally fucked up. There's Make My Sonic, Eggman Origin, and the 2 weirdest ones, My Roommate Sonic, which is like a first-person adventure on a date with Sonic watching TV, and Sonic Movie Maker, where you get Sonic characters in certain weird, awkward situations and you get to film them with a video camera. It sounds innocent enough, but if you could tell from the footage, it's probably one of the weirdest, wackiest things I've ever seen involving Sonic, and I've seen a lot of weird Sonic shit. At number 7, we have Bedlam, a very interesting and very odd game, but definitely one worth playing. Bedlam is an over-the-top, fast-paced first-person shooter in a classic style. The premise here is that you're a scientist who gets trapped in different eras of video games. One second you're running around in a 2-bit arcade-style game, the next you're in a first-person shooter game with an open world and beautiful, gorgeous graphics like Halo, then other times you're running around Quake-style arenas blowing away skeletons and stuff, or you're in a World War II shooter. The concept is really cool, it's actually pretty fun to play, and there's some really good voice acting, and it's all tied together with a pretty interesting little story. It's just a very unique take and looking back at all the old ways that we played first-person shooter games, and if you're like a little bit of a gaming historian or a younger fellow who hasn't really experienced the past PC gaming first-person shooter endeavors, maybe Bedlam might be right up your alley. Check it out. And at number 6, we have Dropsy the Clown, a weird, messed up point-and-click adventure by Devolver Digital. You kind of play as this fucked up, creepy, misunderstood clown, and it's kind of like a really sad but really charming and endearing game. The creepiness of the clown that you play as will make you feel uncomfortable at times in this weird, awkward, grotesque world, but there's something deep down in it once you dig through all the muck that'll actually make you smile. It kind of reminds me of some 90s cartoons that weren't afraid to be a little gross and weird and out there, and it's a pretty cool translation into a point-and-click adventure. It's cheap, it's fairly short, and you just might enjoy it. And at number 5, we have Strawberry Cubes, a weird, random game that is basically messed up and broken for all the right or wrong reasons. Everyone who's ever played this game says they have no idea what's going on, and I can say the same after playing around with it for a few minutes. There's like a menu screen in the beginning, but then it doesn't really do anything, and then there's random glitches, and sometimes the game breaks. Or does it break? Maybe it's not intentional. I honestly don't know. It's kind of interesting and fun to mess around with, and maybe you should. I don't know what to say about this game, but it is a little creepy, and the aesthetic, the vintage style might keep you on edge sometimes, because everything is just so vague and creepy and weird, and I don't even know. I don't really know what to say about Strawberry Cubes, but it is certainly weird. And at number 4, speaking of certainly weird, we have Shower with Dad Simulator. This is a game that you've probably seen played by a lot of popular Let's Players, and that's probably basically why the game was made, and it's totally stupid and hilarious for 5 minutes. I don't really know why it exists, but it's like a pixelated first-person game where you run around a shower room and there's a bunch of dads running at you and you gotta shoot towels at them. I don't know. I don't know anymore. But if you've never had a dad, and I guess if you want to know what it's like to shower with him, maybe play this, even though I don't really feel like that's accurate. I don't even know anymore with this list. Anyway, at number 3, speaking of I don't even know anymore, we have I Am Bread, which is basically a bread simulator. Yes, you get to play as a piece of bread as you climb your way across a level, and it's actually pretty endearing and pretty engaging gameplay-wise. Each edge of the bread is a contextual control, and you have to kind of climb and hang on to things to get yourself across a very complicated kitchen or other style level. And it's actually pretty damn cool and worth checking out, I swear. It sounds and looks stupid, but it's actually pretty fun to play. And at number 2, we have Paint the Town Red, a weird, odd first-person shooter game we stumbled across on Steam. You're just kind of like a little Minecraft-shaped character, and you run around and you kick and punch and cut and stab a bunch of people, and there's pixelated blood everywhere, and it's just complete nonsense. It's one of those early access games which is like, I don't even know why it exists, but it's just, I don't know, it just kind of puts you in pixelated bars and lets you wreck shit. So if that's what you want out of a video game, you know, and some people might, check it out. There's actually a lot to this game though. There's a lot of maps, a lot of weapons, online co-op, daily challenges, and leaderboards. Who would have thought? And at number 1, we have Undertale, a classic style RPG where you play as a human who goes into a world of monsters and then you have to kind of get your way out. There's weird features in how you don't really have to kill anyone, but the game is just, I don't know, I can't really describe it. There's actually emotion, and it's hilariously written and kind of fucking really funny. The game pretty much remembers every bad thing you do, and if you want to kill characters, you can. And it's just really well written, and it's number 1 on this list because it's probably one of the most indescribable games on this list. It's just cool, but weird, but definitely worth checking out if you want a really alternative outside the box experience. I'm sorry I can't really tell you much else about Undertale, but it is a game. So speaking of games, guys, those are the 10 weirdest games of 2015. There's a lot of other weird games out there though. We had to cut this list down, so we do want to know in the comments what weird games you've been playing. If you learned about a cool, weird new game and maybe checked it out, click the like button because that helps us out. And subscribing is the best thing you can do because we put out new videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.